This is the last edition here in the Bachelorette Pad of Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Here on Texas Football Today, when we take an opportunity to dive inside the numbers and to see if we can figure out some things about Texas high school football or football in general. And today I want to focus on the teams that found themselves in tight contests. Now, we can certainly have an argument about this type of thing, but we're going to talk about one-score games. And we're going to talk about close games, right? Games decided by 8 points or fewer.
Okay.
Because, in the end, it does feel like, I would love to know, actually, this is knowable, how many teams did not play a game within one score,
okay.
right? Would you care to guess how many did not play a one-score game?
Oh, man, I have no idea where it even starts. There's 1,500 teams.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say 400.
So there are, So there were 1,200 UIL 11-man schools. Let's say 1,250. 992 played at least one-score game. Okay. At least
so
one.
300 or so.
300 or so did not play a one-score
I was fairly
game.
close.
In the end, you're going to find yourself in a one-score game, in a close game. Yeah. Now, we can talk about the things that go into winning a close game. I do think there's some skill involved. Mm-hmm. I do think there's especially some coaching skill involved.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm going to say a four-letter word here, I also think there's some luck, right? I know whenever you say luck, you're making some sort of accusation. That's not true. Sometimes you just need the ball to bounce your way. Mm-hmm. And so all of those things conspire to make it so that when you get into a close game, are you going to come out on the right side or are you going to come out on the wrong side? And there were some teams that were particularly good in close games. And there were other teams that not so much, buddy. Not so much, buddy. So first of all, let's take a look in 2023 at the teams who were the best in Texas high school football in one-score games. So games decided by 8 points or fewer. Belton. The Tigers of Belton played six one-score games and did not lose a single one of them. They went 6-0 in one-score games. And by the way, that includes, it was an 8-point win over Pflugerville-Hendrickson, a 7-point win over Brenham. They had a 7-point win at Huntsville. They had a 3-point win against San Angelo Central. Their first 4 games.
Wow.
They went 4-0, and those games were decided by a combined 25 points.
That's insane.
Okay? But they were 4-0. Then they went and they beat Pflugerville-Conley by 5. They beat Killeen Chaparral by 6. And so, now what does it say? They did lose 2 games. Mm-hmm. Those games they lost by they lost by 12 points and they lost by 23 points or 26 points. But in close games, they were money.
And a really good year for Belton.
Same thing goes for they lapped the field, the best team as far as volume as well as being undefeated. Same thing goes with this quintet of teams. Mm-hmm. Thank you. El Paso Eastwood, Jacksboro, Midlothian Heritage, Port Neches Groves, and Red Oak all went 5-0 in one-score games in 2023. Beeville, Jones, Cedar Park, Gilmer, Odessa, and Wolfforth Friendship were 5-1 in those games. So they played 6 games themselves. Mm-hmm. That is the most, by the way. There were if you're looking for the teams that played the most one-score games, it was in fact. Oh no, I've got that wrong. I'll get to that in a moment. There were a number of teams that went 4-0, including Alvord, Marlin, Happy in the 6-man ranks, New Caney, Porter. There's not a lot of one-score games in 6-man football. Mm-hmm. I think we looked it up, and it was like something like 19 to 20% of 11-man games were one-score games, whereas it's only like 10% of 6-man games. So Happy's the only team that makes this list. And then a variety of teams that were 4-1, including Stephenville, Waxahachie, Reagan County, Prosper, McKinney North, all 4-1 in one-score games. If you're interested, the teams that played the most one-score games, there were 5 teams that played 7 one-score games. You want to talk about a
Thrilling season.
yeah.
A roller coaster ride of a season.
Waco University and Gatesville each went 4-3. Lancaster and Henrietta both went 3-4, and then Pearsall went 2-5. They played 7 one-score games.
But that's also interesting to look at from say Pearsall, for example. You go 2-5, you said? Like, you want to talk about a team that if they're bringing back a lot of their players could be right on the cusp this year?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Pickle, because now I want to go to the next thing.
Okay.
And I want to talk about the teams with the worst record in one-score games in Texas high school football, including 3 teams that went 0-5 in one-score games. Like, you want to talk about feeling like you are so close and yet so far. I want to use the example of Cotulla.
Yeah.
Okay? The 3 that went 0-5, by the way, for the podcast audience, I can't see the graphic. Converse Judson, Cotulla, and Water Valley. Now, Water Valley, I believe, is returning back to the six-man ranks.
Ranks, yeah.
Right. But I want you to consider this, okay? Cotulla went 3-7 last year. They went 3-7. They lost to Corpus Christi West Oso by 7. They lost to Robstown by 2.
Okay.
They lost to Crystal City by 6. They lost to Lytle by 1. And they lost to Hondo by 4.
Oh my
okay?
gosh.
Pickle, quite simply, if they just split that in half, if they just went, let's just say they went 3-2
Yeah.
in those close games.
Put a winning record on it.
So that is a decision. That is the difference of only like.
Some of them were 1, 2, and 3 points.
Let's put it this way: if you take the loss to Robstown, Lytle, and Hondo, okay, the last 2 were district games. They lost those 3 games by combined 7 points. They're 1 touchdown functionally away
from winning 3 games.
From winning 3 games and going 6-5, or basically probably making the playoffs.
Playoffs, absolutely.
And going 6-4 and probably making the playoffs.
And having a winning record on the season.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Another group of teams went
just
0-4 in close games. Dangerfield, Houston Westbury, Leander Glen, Paris, Pflugerville Connolly, Prosper Rock Hill, and Richmond Foster were all born under a bad sign here. And then you had a variety of teams went 1-5. Ennis, Katy Morton Ranch, San Angelo Central was on the wrong side of a lot of these, San Antonio Taft. And then 1-4. I want you to look at, and there's, by the way, this group, there's a number of teams here that were really good. Dangerfield was a state semifinalist, right? And they went winless in close games, right? A&M Consolidated was a regional semifinalist, or regional finalist, rather, and they went 1-4 in close games. Port Lavaca Calhoun, West Orange Stark, Shallow Water, right? These were not bad teams. But you think about how, like, these close games they found themselves in, they just could not find that extra play to get over the top.
Well, and then you look at a team like Katy Morton Ranch going 1-5. Think about the district that they're in. I mean, that is a dominant district in the state, and in 19-6A, and to lose go 1-5 in 1-score games, like, you've got to be kicking yourself.
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. Because they went 2-8, right?
Yeah.
2-point loss to Eisenhower, 8-point loss to Kingwood Park. They did win a 1-point win over Payto.
Yes.
And you remember that kind of turned that district upside down. 7-point loss to Cinco Ranch, 3-point loss to Seven Lakes, and then a 3-point loss to Katy Jordan in the season.
God.
Like, they were so close.
Yeah.
Right?
In a really tough
Absolutely.
district.
Okay. So now I want to get to one more thing. Don't click it yet.
Okay, not clicking.
What I wanted to do was you would think, okay, these things are going to kind of even out. Okay, these things are going to find a way to even out over the course of a couple of seasons. You can have one season where everything breaks your way, but it's likely gonna come back. You just saw the graph.
Yeah.
I would like to present to you. I took a look at the last 2 seasons, 2022 and 2023, games decided by 8 points or fewer. Which teams had the best record? I would like to present to you the most shocking statistic I've seen in quite a while.
Ready? And boom. Wow.
Port Neches Groves, over the last 2 seasons, is 10-0 in close games, in games decided by 1 score. 10-0. That, by the way, is the Jeff Joseph era.
Yeah.
In the last 2 seasons, Port Neches Groves is 10-0. That is absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. In fact, let me extrapolate this. Okay? I don't know what's in the water in Groves, in their last 3 seasons, so this is the previous regime plus Jeff Jordan, or Jeff Joseph. Jeff Jordan was former Garland coach. Jeff Joseph. They're 14-1 in their last 15 one-score games. 14-1 in their last 3 seasons in one-score games. If you get in a close game against Port Neches Groves, you're gonna lose. They find a way. I putting this together, I was like certain I'd made a mistake. Because nobody plays 10 games within one score, and certainly nobody wins all of them.
10 of them.
And by the way, that includes this most recent state championship game.
Every single coach that will hear that stat is absolutely loving that, because you want to talk about there being proof of the little things matter. Like, that is the most clear-cut example that the little things matter. If you can do the little things right, you can win a close game. 10-0 is unbelievable.
Not to be left out in the cold, Belton is 8-0. Obviously fueled by going 6-0 this year, but they went 2-0 last year.
Right.
Bandera and George Ranch are 7-0 in one-score games.
That's wild about Bandera.
Jacksboro and McCamey are 6-0, and then China Spring, not surprising. They've been living it right. Rockport Fulton, San Antonio Burbank, San Antonio Harlan, and Weslaco are each 5-0 in one-score games in the last 2 seasons. So
10-0.
there you go.
Just
I know
crazy.
it was shocking. So in any case, that is a look at which teams were the best one-score game teams, close games, in Texas high school football here on the final Bachelorette Pad edition of Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.